everyone, and welcome to another episode of Build That Practice. My name is Dr. Erica Liggins, licensed clinical psychologist and private practice coach. And today I have yet another example of a story of success of someone who has started their own practice and is here to share their story with us. So please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Shante Bassett, licensed clinical psychologist. Thank you to Dr. Liggins. Let's see, where do I start? So I'm currently in private practice, but we'll talk a little bit more about that later. I graduated from Long Island University post-campus with my doctorate, my PsyD in clinical psychology with a concentration in severe and persistent mental illness. I currently work in an inpatient psychiatric hospital and do private practice part-time.
Beautiful. I love a good side hustle because everybody has different dreams and hopes with their private practice. For some
Yeah,
people, they're full time like I am. For other people, it's that thing they do on the side for a little extra this or that, or just to vary up what they're doing clinically with their
yeah.
full time job. So tell the audience what made you want to start your own private practice?
Honestly, I wanted to be a psychologist since 13, and that I guess seeing psychology represented in the media and mental health, it involved like that private practice couch type of setting. So that was always in my mind. As I grew and advanced in my education, I learned that there were like other avenues and other ways that I could be a psychologist. But most recently, like I still work in a state setting. I was working for the city previously, and I am also very active in my faith. And I actually did my dissertation on religious coping techniques in incarcerated individuals. So I like to integrate that into the work that I do if the client is open to it. And I kind of felt hindered, so I think one of the most important aspects of why I decided to do private practice was so that I could integrate those two passions, my faith and the importance of mental health, like the way I wanted to, without worrying about this being a public institution and me not being able to say certain words or do certain things. So I think that's probably one of the most important reasons.
I hear you 100%. The freedom that comes along with when you are really calling the shots.
Mhm.
You get to work with who you want to work with, how you want to work with them. And if there's other activities or things you like doing, I know for me, I love coaching and supervising and teaching. And so being able to have my own private practice allows me to still do therapy because I still love that too. But then I get to see the number of clients I want to see each week, which then frees up my time to do
Right,
other professional activities that are really important to me. So I get you 100%
right.
with that. So even though, opening up our own practice comes with all this freedom and all these different choices, was there anything that you were scared about when it comes to starting your own practice?
Everything. No, no. Not everything, but when you're in private practice, like you said, you're calling the shots. You're also controlling the books. You're
Mhm.
managing the expenses and assessing the profits. And money is always like a big scary thing for me, like the finance aspect. So I was just like, oh no, I gotta manage the money. I gotta make sure that this is coming in. I gotta make sure I have this. So I think that was probably the scariest aspect, and just being in control. Like we work with a lot of clients who they go about life trying to control the things that they can't control. But here I am, now that I have my license, I can control this, and now I'm scared of that too. So I think that was probably like the scariest thing, like the money and just like everything being in my hands.
Right. It's both the benefit of it and also the thing that terrifies. It's having all the control and the power. It's
Hmm.
great and it's scary. And that's
Right.
real. And so a lot of people could be definitely feeling that. So, what made you decide to work with me in particular to get your coaching to help you with this next step in your professional career?
So, as you know, I started coaching with you for my licensing exam in July of 2022, and that was successful. So I was just like, she clearly knows what she's doing, so let's run it back and let's do the private practice coaching. It only made sense to me. And you can Google things and find this information and find that information, but I don't think anything is more helpful than lived experience. And so, like, you're in private practice, you have a successful private practice, and you have a heart to help other people do the same thing. And I think that's the key. So, all of those things taken together with my previous experience with your exam coaching, uh, I'm a lifetime customer. So,
Yeah, it felt like a really beautiful progression. And I remember after you passed the test, I wasn't sure if you might want to take a second to breathe or to like take some time off, but this was something that you had been dreaming about for so long.
mhm. Yep,
Like
yep.
I remember when we started coaching for the exam,
Mhm,
you showed me your logo, you already had a name.
mhm.
I mean, it was in your head, it just wasn't out in the world yet. And so as soon as you passed that exam, I feel like maybe a week or two went by and then we got right to it.
We sure did. We
Got
sure
right to
did.
it. There's no time wasted. Now, of
No,
course, everyone's going to go at their own pace and
right.
do it at the speed that works for them. But you had some really serious goals and dreams that you were trying to get to. So, what do you think were some of the things that were most helpful about my system of guiding you through this?
Well, your experience, having done it yourself, and your passion. Like, you clearly have a passion to help others get to the place in life and in their profession where they want to be. And you recognize that it might not be full-time practice, it might be part-time. Maybe the goal is to get the license so that they can, um, keep their job or get a better job or whatever. So, um, yeah, I'm sorry, I went off on a tangent and I don't, what was the question?
What was most helpful about the coaching
Right.
helping you to go along the process?
Right. So what was most helpful? Definitely your experience. So you have a successful practice, so you clearly know what you're doing, and also your passion to help others, share that knowledge with others. So I think those two things are most important. And um, you're very concise. You're very concise. So, like, whether it's a handout or working on a to-do list, and everyone's to-do list is going to be different depending on what their goals are, depending on what pace. So you're very structured, but also very flexible because you understand that, like, life will throw curveballs and things might happen. So you're very, like, understanding, open, but at the same time, you know how to put a fire under someone and motivate them and inspire them to move forward.
Yeah, it was such a fun process helping you with this, and it came together
You
fast.
said was. We not done. I'm
Oh,
gonna schedule an appointment like next week. What are you talking about?
okay, very right, because we do a check-in to see how you're doing.
Yes.
So so you passed the test, and then I feel like within what, 4 months, 5 months, you were seeing clients.
Less. So I passed the exam on September 16th of 2023, a day that will live in infamy.
Mhm.
And I saw my first client on January 13th. So 4 months. Wait,
Oh,
wait, October, November, yeah, 4 months.
yeah, it was lightning speed. And now was
Yep.
that a insurance person or was that a self-pay person?
Insurance. So I have one self-pay. Everyone else is insurance, and that's also something that we discussed when we were doing the private practice coaching and talking about, like, the demographic that we want to help. And I recognize that a lot of people in the demographic that I want to help want to use their health insurance benefits. And I get that. So, that was part of the work that we did. But I do have a self-pay client. And I was just like, ooh, goody, goody gumdrop. It's
So we
actually
love that.
possible.
It is possible. It is magical when it happens for sure. And there's some people who choose to have all cash self-pay practices. So again, the time frame depends on a lot, how quickly we can get credentialed, and there's a lot of little particulars. So anyone who's watching this, don't get hung up on these time frames. Your journey is yours, and
Absolutely.
you may do it at a different speed, and that's fine. But we're just showing you what's possible.
Yes.
And from there you make it your own. So, and just to speak on the timeline, so we worked together on the EPPP process for over a year because again, life just threw curveballs.
Absolutely.
So it was a journey, but then once that was done, I mean, clearly it's like the doors just opened wide up for
Yep.
you to be.
Yep. And those of you who are coaching clients, one, you know that visualization and imagery is one of the things that Coach Erica, Dr. Erica, tells us to do. So that's why I had my my logo. That's I was able to envision that. So that was like my motivation. So when I passed the test, I had already seen it. So I already had the blueprint. We worked on the blueprint. I saw the blueprint in my mind. So I think that's part of why I just hit the ground running because the motivation was there.
The motivation was there. Oh my gosh. So what would you tell someone who, they're licensed now and they're wondering, maybe they didn't work with me as their EPPP coach, so they don't know me from Adam. And this is a whole new thing for them and they're kind of wondering, well, should I sign up with her and do that or should I just try to figure this out on my own? What would you recommend?
Everyone needs support. As mental health professionals, we emphasize the importance of having a support system. That's one of like the first things we ask in an intake, right? Like your social supports. This is your private practice support. Like I said, you can Google this and Google that and ask that person, but having all of that information in one place, and it's not just information, it's support, it's encouragement, it's understanding. Like, why wouldn't you get that support? Because that support is going to push you closer to success and make it more likely that you're going to be successful. So, like Nike, just do
Yeah,
it.
right, absolutely. So, I mean, now that the practice is set up, money is coming in.
It is. It is.
Oh, money's coming in. Okay. So, what are we most excited about, like in life now that you have this like, what is this going to do for you, maybe financially? What are some goals, some dreams, professionally, personally, that now you can do since you have this added business?
Flexibility for sure. Like I'm working full time, and that's one thing that I wanted to share. Everyone's path, everyone's journey is going to be different. And getting the license, yes, like the main goal was to be in private practice, but getting my license actually afforded me the opportunity to get a different job. Can I just give the
Oh
lay of the land about the
yes,
job?
let the people know.
Dr. Erica knows. So I currently live in Connecticut. I'm a New York City transplant. So I was working in Long Island City, Queens, New York, but living in Connecticut. And literally, so before passing the exam, I was commuting 2 days a week, working 8 hours. But literally, I passed the exam and then my schedule changed to not only 3 days, but working 9 to 10 hours each day. So I was commuting Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And with traffic
Oh my,
and construction, my commute was typically 3 hours going, 2.5 hours coming.
no, 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 no.
Spending,
Oh,
I was spending a work day in my car,
and you
basically.
have children. You're a single
Yes.
mom.
Yeah. So that was definitely challenging. It was physically taxing. It was mentally taxing. It was emotionally taxing. It was a lot. I love my job, don't get me wrong. But just being in two different states and then having like I didn't think that my commute time was going to double, but
Yeah.
it did. So I one night I came home. I was crying. I was sitting in the dark on the floor. I was just like, I can't do this. So I just like started applying for jobs. And hopefully my former director doesn't see this, but whatever. So I just started applying because it was a lot on me. It was a lot on my children.
Course on your,
It
I
was just
mean, I can't even conceptualize what you just said about, like, my brain like rejected that. Like I can't imagine working 9, 10 hours plus all those hours. I drove 2 hours yesterday just doing back and forth and I was exhausted and I was doing fun stuff. I can't even imagine. So you that fire, that desperation just led you to start applying for jobs. So then what happened next?
So I applied for jobs and I got some rest and I felt a little better the next day. So my intention was to see if I could get some scheduling accommodations for my job because like I said, I loved it. It's my first job as a psychologist, as a doctor. So I had a conversation with my director and he said, we're short staffed, we can't do it right now, but let's keep the conversation going. And it wasn't the answer I wanted, but I just had a sense of peace. So that was like at 1:45 on a Friday. By maybe 4 o'clock, like 3:55, I got a call, and I'm so glad I answered because I didn't recognize the number. I got a call for an interview. And I was just like, wow, like I had a sense of peace. Clearly, this is why. So that was Friday. The interview was the following Friday. And in the interview, they said, it's the holidays. You're not going to hear anything from HR before the new year. But, we'll see how it goes. The director walked me to the elevator. He asked me how I thought it went. Of course, I'm going to say I think it went well. He was like, I do too. I'm like, okay. So remember, they said you're not going to hear anything before the new year. That interview was on December 14th. They called me with the job offer on December 21st. Yeah.
Wow.
So because I had my license,
Oh,
I,
because
I feel the
yes,
tears. Because
yes.
I had my license, not only was I able to start my private practice, but I was able to apply and be a viable candidate because I've applied before, but I didn't have my license, and that's why I didn't get a job. I was able to apply and be a viable candidate for a job that I told you what my commute was, right? 3 hours.
Oh God,
My
horrible.
commute is 18 minutes with traffic.
With traffic. Oh my goodness. With traffic.
With.
And again, for a busy working mom, that's
Uh-huh.
life-changing for you and for your children.
Absolutely. I have
Were
time to
there,
sleep now.
yeah, yeah, oh yes. Were there any other perks that you might want to share about this position and how it,
Oh, well, yeah, that part too. That part too. 18
no
minutes.
specifics, but
Yeah, it's significantly more. And then you factor in not having to pay for gas. Well, I mean, pay for gas, but not paying nearly as much. Tolls, what's that? I don't even have to get on, the main highway to get to work. Like,
right. So not
so
only
there,
are you
it's,
saving
but
money,
you,
but you're making more.
exactly, saving more, making more. And I think above all of that, it's the quality of life.
Oh,
I'm spending more time with my children. Like I have more time to check homework and I'm not like falling asleep with, at the table. And like, I told you earlier, I'm exhausted. I'm tired right now. But then I remember I'm tired because I'm literally living in answered prayer. Like we've been in coaching sessions, snotting and crying and carrying on and
yeah,
right?
yes.
And like now I like my part-time practice is full. Like and you were really good with like helping me to set goals. What's your demographic? What are your goals? Like, what do you want to do with this? And I said, I want 10 clients. That's going to be my part-time, have 12.
Okay. Now
That's
we're going
literally because
down,
I didn't
down.
toggle off. I didn't toggle off like literally I was in the process of toggling off like not accepting clients and someone booked. I was just like, well, we praise God. Like, I'll take it. But I'm I exceeded my goal. I'm not like overbooked to the sense like I don't have enough time.
Okay,
It's
good.
just like, but yeah, it's quality of life. It's flexibility. It's having more time and more money to do things with the children. Like I told my daughter, we're going to go on a vacation before the year is up and our eyes like opened up. Those are the things that are really important. So yes, the money, it's nice. Like I think my first goal is to clear my debt with
Oh,
my part-time practice. And that will
yes.
free up a lot of mental space and also a lot of finances to do the things that I want to do, to go the places I want to go, to take my children and do all the things with them and put them in. Yeah, it's getting my license was a game changer and being in private practice is just a compliment to that. That was the goal, but now that I have a completely different job, it's they complement each other so well. So I'm grateful. I really am.
Thank you so much for sharing this beautiful story. And it's just so fun to be on the other side with you. So, to anyone who's watching this, whether you are still working toward licensure, let this fuel you, motivate you, because sometimes when we're in the journey, it's so dark and so
Yep.
hard that we forget why we're doing this.
Yeah.
So let this be fuel to you. And if you are listening to this and you've already crossed over that hurdle and you're wondering, is private practice for me? This is a perfect example of how you don't have to go gangbusters and start full time doing this.
Right.
This can really be something you do on the side, that good side hustle money that helps you get out of debt, helps you to work with people you want to work with, and really set yourself up to achieve your wildest dreams. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope to see all of you soon.